Thank you.
The next speaker is Professor Evagoras Nikolaides, Professor of Postgraduate Medicine. He's director at the Postgraduate Department for General Medicine at the Medical School of the University of Nicosia. He will speak to us for the impact of Hippocratic medicine on the Cyprus medicine in the antiquity. Please, Professor Nikolaides.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to congratulate, first of all, the committee for organizing this extremely important Congress, especially the President, Dr. George Patoulis, and my esteemed friend and colleague and compatriot, Dr. Antonis Polidorou. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to participate. And the Hippocratic ethics and principles now are more than ever provide the base for the practice of medicine across the world. Cyprus has served the ancient medicine, first of all, as a source of medicaments. It was also the meeting point due to its situation placed in between three continents and being in contact with the countries, Greece, the Ionian area, and at the Hellenistic ages, Alexandria, and thus was a meeting point of Greek and Near Eastern medicine. It is also a source, served as a source of further development of Hippocratic principles through these contacts. The botanic and mineral medicaments of Cyprus were known from prehistory and then recorded by Aristotle, who mentions in translation that there is in Cyprus a mountain, largest and highest of all its mountains, called Troodos, where there are so many plants useful for the art of medicine that if I try to say something about, there is no time to tell. And lower down, then he says, a mountain with a mine of gold and has many mines of gold, silver, and copper, streptizin, split and white and real, and many other ores and metals. Galen, in the 2nd century AD, came to Cyprus not only for its minerals, because he collected a flour of copper, which is copper sulfate, sori, misi, tenovite, chalcite, and cadmia, and other metals from Cyprus, mostly for treating the infections of the wounds. And here you see an ancient Skouritissa mine in Cyprus, a copper mine with one of its galleries. And this is the hydrous copper sulfide, the blue part, which is used in all the wars as a kind of antiseptic. And this is a mixture, another mineral, a mixture of copper and iron sulfide. We must not also forget the salt from Cyprus, which until 50 years ago was still gathered in this way at the salt lake in Larnaca and used also as a antiseptic. There were many plants in Cyprus and they were considered by the ancients as better than the herbs of the other parts. And here I have the Greek name on the left and the Latin botanic name on the right. Myrtle, almond, pistachia, oregano, capparis, and so many other herbs useful in medicine. The temples of Asclepius, who were used, as in the whole of Greece, as not only temples, but also as infirmaries. Here you have one statue from Asclepius from the Salamis, and another one from Paphos. The one on the right is a Roman one, the one on the left is a Hellenistic one. And along with the Asclepii, there were also the different schools. This is the Asclepion of Paphos. This is the Asclepion with at Salamis with the theater near it. And this is a small Asclepion in Kition, but later seemed to be very important because it was in contact with the Alexandrian Hellenistic period in Egypt. And there, in this period, we had the conflict of the two sects of Hippocratic medicine, the logical or dogmatic, which was mostly theoretical, and the empirical sect. At the end, the empirical school prevailed, and we have there the representatives of Philemon from Kos, Serapion from Alexandria, and Glaucias from Taras. And all this empirical school was based on Hippocrates' writings that are represented nowadays in the evidence-based medicine, as the previous speaker alluded to. And here in translation, you have the Greek above and the loose English translation lower down. Have this in mind so that you do not begin diagnosis and treatment making assumptions based on previous theories, but think logically based on experience. And then later on, do not use conclusions derived only from theory, but use what has been proven in practice. This is evidence-based medicine as we practice it here, and it was described in the 5th century BC by Hippocrates. The scholars and annotators of the empirical school were Glaucias from Taras, Zeus, Heraclitus from Taras, and Apollonius from Kition, which is, as I described before, from the south part of Cyprus. He was a student and assistant of Sergion Zopyros in Alexandria in the 1st century BC. And among other works, he annotated and further illustrated the book Periatron of Hippocrates, which is basically a book on treatment of wrestling injuries, then which gradually then developed into the orthopedics as we know them nowadays. And he in the book, which was saved and found later on in Byzantine scripts, and through that it passed on both sides of the Cyprus, both to the Middle East and to Europe in well illustrated manuscripts. You have some illustrations here. And here with special implements used for the various treatments that formed the establishment of orthopedics. Other physicians that originated from the Kition Asclepion medical school where it seems that acquired a fame in the region were Apollodorus from Kition, Xenon from Kition, and Diagoras from Cyprus, who's especially known for his treatment of eye infections and prescribed had prepared eye ointments and drops. And not forgetting this, we must not also forget to mention that heat appliances were used. These are some finds from in excavations in Cyprus of various hot water bottles which could be used for heat appliance in almost every part of the body. And we have in Cyprus up till now, we have 3 graves of surgeons 3 tombs of surgeons where we had found very well preserved surgical instruments, again showing the development of surgery alongside of medicine in the Hellenistic and Roman era. And this slide is just a small example because there are 3 graves, as I said, with numerous instruments, which are very similar to the ones that we are using now. The more one looks at the Hippocratic ethics, the more one realizes how timeless they are. From the well-known to us, the life is short and the art is long, to the lesser known but most appropriate of our times, which I'm quoting now. It says, «Τις δε επικαρπείς μη ανευτής επισκευαζούσεις προς μάθησιν επιθυμείς, παραγγελεύομαι δε μη λύειν απ' ανθρωπίν εισάγειν, αλλά από βλέπειν εις γε περιουσίν και ουσίν, ειν δε καιρός οι χορηγείς ξένο το αιώντι και απορρέοντι, μάλιστα επαρκέιν τίση τιούτης εσύν, ειν γαρ παρή φιλανθρωπή, πάρεστη φιλοτεχνή», which translated, as far as reward is concerned, you should correspond to the need to cover your expenses for continuous education and studies. I advise you not to ask inhumanly high reward, but you should charge according to the financial ability of the patient if you come across. Look after a foreigner or poor free of charge and help him as much as you can, because wherever there is love for humanity, there is love for medicine. These special times of the pandemic and the regional wars, Cyprus keeps its Hippocratean stand by striving to help more than ever the many refugees that come to Cyprus. Thank you.
Very much, Professor Nikolaides, for this very interesting representation on the influence of Hippocratic medicine in the antiquity in Cyprus. This is very, very interesting. We thank you very much, and we wish you all success in your future professional career.